Meet the Chicago Historians will return right after these messages. Hey, friends, you know, now that the weather is going to be getting nice and you're going to probably spend more time in your vehicle, and you want to make sure that your vehicle is in real good working condition. And you want to stop out at Berkeley Auto Supply at 5237 St. Charles Road in Berkeley, Illinois, and make sure that you can, where they have motor oil, antifreeze, transmission oil, anything you need for your vehicle, new batteries or whatever, wiper blades, whatever you need for your vehicle. That's Berkeley Auto Supply, 5237 St. Charles Road in Berkeley, Illinois. Their phone number is area code 708-544-8350. Go in and see Tom, and he'll help you whatever you need for your vehicle. He's got all kinds of material for your vehicle, from bumper to bumper, from the roof, top of the roof to the bottom of the chassis. That's Berkeley Auto Supply, 5237 St. Charles Road in Berkeley, Illinois. His phone number is area code 708-544-8350. Now, he is located on St. Charles Road. He is west of Mannheim Road and just a few blocks east of Wolf Road on the south side of the street. And Tom is behind his counter Monday through Friday from 8 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. He's there on Saturdays from 8 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock in the evening, and Sundays from 10 o'clock until 3 o'clock to help you. So whatever you need for your vehicle, if you need a new battery, if you need motor oil, wiper blades, transmission oil, power steering fluid, brake fluid, or whatever you need for your vehicle, stop in and see Tom at Berkeley Auto Supply, 5237 St. Charles Road in Berkeley, Illinois. His phone number is area code 708-544-8350. And you are listening to Meet the Chicago Historians from the John DeVita Broadcast Center. And now back to our panel and our moderator, Jack Ryan. Okay, Jack.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Those were the code words, and those proved where you,
We're having a great time here today, let me believe it.
Yeah.
Let me believe it.
Oh,
now,
definitely.
Jeanette, do you have more for us?
No, I was just wanting to bring it a little bit more to
Don't you think
our
that,
way of thinking of
don't you
these
think that a lot of
subjects.
this history, is we're getting the rehash of what the media wants you to hear all the time anyway. They don't dare look for anything new. Which touches on a subject for me. The man was a Chicagoan and an eminently successful author in the 1940s. Author of...
Oh.
no, I can't think of his name now. He wrote Ellis, who is Wilfred Brimley? No. Wrong guy. It's name like that. Willard Motley was the name. He wrote Knock on Any Door, which was made into a film, and the sequel was Let No Man Write My Epitaph, which was also made into a film. And I know he had one more book published called We Fished All Night, which was all about living in Chicago in World War II time. But his characters, he didn't specifically make everybody blacks. There was no cause involved. He used black characters and Italians and Jews and Irish and mostly poor people on the west side. And he was very successful with his, as you said, he was, the first film was one of Bogart's later films,
It
He
was
was
just on today.
Was it?
Knock on
Knocking-
Any Door.
was-
I just caught it. It was actually on one of the stations today.
And
I was not familiar with it.
John
He plays an
Derrick?
attorney. He plays an
Yeah,
attorney in the
John Derrick is Johnny Romano. John
Right,
Romano in
that's
that.
right.
And-
It's funny. I mean, I thought
Yeah.
maybe you'd seen it.
No,
That
I
was
didn't
what
know.
triggered it. Yeah, it was
No.
on this morning.
But it was, but here nobody. I never heard. There's no Willard Motley School in Chicago, a park, even an honorary street. You never heard anything about the guy.
You know what? There is a Motley School, but it's at Elizabeth, and it is a
lot of
Motley
Motley
school
schools.
too. It is.
They got some Motley
Yeah,
schools.
that's right. We got some Motley schools.
George, you bring out the next guest.
Yeah. Elizabeth and Chicago, but I don't know who the hell it's named after.
Yeah.
But
Is it an old one?
yeah.
Well, it couldn't have been him then. Probably.
No, it's not. It's not him. You know.
Yeah.
And we do have who was the black sportscaster that they named a school
Wendell-
after? Wendell. Yeah.
Oh, no.
No.
We just said that.
There was
No,
Wendell.
no,
who was on Channel 9?
You're not talking about Wendell Smith, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wendell Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
right.
Not to be
Him at
confused
WGN.
with
They-
Wendell Phillips.
Good guy.
Yeah,
Very good.
yeah. They named a school for him. Yeah, and Wendell Phillips is
39.
Black High
yeah,
School,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's been there for a long time.
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, Wendell Wilkie. I don't know who was Wendell Phillips.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's one of the few things I don't know. So.
yeah.
Remember
No,
when
I'm not putting you on the spot, but there's a lot of things. You know, I'm really, you know, when you were mentioning Meade, for example, General Meade, we have a street named for him. We have a whole bunch of streets in Chicago named for Civil War generals. You know, yeah, you know, and there is a Grant Place in Chicago named for President, and
We had the Sherman House for many years.
There's a Sherman Street, which is now Financial Plaza.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
you know what? There's a connection, John. Do you know it was Francis Sherman who opened up the Sherman ran the Sherman Hotel. Was he related at all to the?
I don't know. General Sherman had a brother, John Sherman, who was a United States senator from
Yeah.
Ohio. But whether that's the only family connection. I
Yeah,
know of.
yeah, and I know the general's from Ohio too. But I just read something, Chicago's makers, and they said Francis Sherman, who was also mayor of Chicago, at two different times, was his son was the general, and I don't know if that's true or not, but we could, there's so many, street names, school names, business names, they're all related in history. When you look at a building, you're supposed to look at the top and to see if there's a name up there, by the cornice or the date or something,
And you will
Yeah.
see that now and then if
Yeah.
you,
Oh, yeah.
the date for
yeah,
sure. And
the Smith block.
you even
know.
see apartment buildings
yeah,
that have
yeah,
something.
and they have names.
yeah,
Yeah,
a brick is up there, yeah.
The original library building, which is now called the Cultural Center, it says something about dedicated in whatever year, 1890 something, by the Grand Army of the Republic. Now, what was that?
Well, the Grand Army of the Republic was the first great. Well, I shouldn't say the first. It was the great veterans organization of the Civil War, the GAR, and it was enormously powerful politically. I mean, in the years after the Civil War, when so many of our presidents were former Civil War officers, and General John Logan was the first Grand Commander of the. So there's an Illinois connection to it. But yeah, the GAR was. I mean, it was kind of like the American Legion and the VFW, and all rolled into one.
Mm-hmm.
So and then they.
Why did you call Logan a square?
I said, what a square, right?
Could I do a little presidential segue? Because
Please do.
we're talking about Sherman. I was reading a book about General Sherman, and when you think of American politics, people are familiar with the Sherman Statement, which is when someone refuses to be a candidate. Because there was much effort to get General William Tecumseh Sherman to run for president of the United States. He would have probably been elected in a
Was he another
landslide.
redhead, wasn't he?
I'm not sure. I've only seen black and white. I can't say honestly whether he was
He
or not.
had freckles. I
But
know
his hair
that.
sure looked dark to me. So
I ain't seen no recent
I'm gonna
pictures
say
of him.
But when it was proposed to him, he famously said, "If nominated, I will not run.
Yeah.
If elected, I will not serve." And that's about as blunt as you can make it.
War is hell.
Why did I came across, he hated politicians. He thought politicians had gummed up the works during the Civil War. He disliked both parties
things never
equally,
change, huh?
and although his brother was an ardent Republican, and Sherman's sympathies would have been in the direction of the Republican Party at that time. But he was very disappointed that he felt Republican politicians had been very unfair to the Army after the war was over, when their attitude was sort of, don't let the door slam into you on the way out. Now that you've won the war for us, we will get back to running the country without your help. Thank you very much. So he was very critical. But what was interesting was he thought that his great friend, General Ulysses S. Grant, had demeaned himself and had ruined his reputation by becoming president. He thought Grant would have gone down in history as a much greater figure if he had never served as president. Because if you remember, we think of the corruption of the Grant. The Grant's years as president didn't really add a great deal of luster, and he felt that if he became president, he would be dealing with the same politicians, he would have the same problems. And another reason that people aren't aware of is that William Tecumseh Sherman was nominally a Roman Catholic. He had nominally become Catholic because he had married a woman who was Catholic. His wife was Catholic. He was not overly fond of the Catholic Church, often said some very disparaging things about the Catholic faith, but in terms of what his religion was, he had converted. And he felt at the time there was so much anti-Catholicism in the United States that if he had become a candidate, all of this would have come to the fore. He did not want his wife. Smith. He did not want his wife to feel that he had been a part of kind of boiling over anti-Catholic. And this is something you don't pick up as to the reasons why Sherman did not want to be a politician.
Romanism and rebellion.
Exactly. That was a very current phrase in that time.
Say that again.
Romanism and rebellion.
They said the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party was the party of Romanism, and rebellion. And
the Pope will dictate all events in this. That's the stereotype that carried into the '60s.
In addition to his dislike of politicians, there was what happened to Grant, and he did not want to see his great friend and the man who he had served with so valiantly in the war. He did not want to go through that himself. And also this angle, the fact that he was nominally a Roman Catholic. So just a little sidelight on why Sherman...
And I think we went through that with John Kennedy.
Sure.
He was
and
not
Al
John
Smith.
Kennedy,
Al
43 years old. He was John Kennedy, Catholic.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, well, so what?
Do you
Yeah,
remember-
right. Yeah, what's
So what would that do for me?
Kennedy handled that very well.
He did.
Yes.
He did.
Yeah.
But I mean, since we're on that subject,
Right,
isn't it?
sure.
The other thing is, this is just ironic we brought it up. When I was in school, no matter where the education came from, many things that you just brought up, Ken, were really emphasized to us, like know your streets, know your direction, know your hundreds, know the buildings. We had to name our shoreline, you know. When I talk to the children of today, or the kids that are, you know, all the way up to college age, they know nothing about this city. Very little about this city is a better word. If you pointed like that, what is that tall building there? I don't know. I don't know. I know it's downtown. You know, that they don't know anything, and they don't seem to be interested.
No, that's
in
right.
knowing.
Well, they're all texting and staying inside the house.
And I think sometime when our educational people are, you know, fighting for their rights and all the madness that seems to be going on now, those are subjects too that are left out, and they should know.
But look
Geography,
back.
history.
You know, it's funny. When I was in grade school, I don't know if anyone else remembers this. The Tribune, we subscribed to the Tribune. They had a regular feature, I think it was every Saturday, called Famous Chicago Buildings.
Yes.
And they would have a column. They'd have a picture of the Merchandise Mart, the Tribune Tower, the Wrigley Building. And I was fascinated with this. I cut these out. I got a scrapbook
The
of them
Sunday
somewhere.
Rotary Reviewer section
And,
had a lot of
and
this.
I learned about the Union Carbide and Carbon Building, the Pure Oil Building.
Never heard these words.
You know, the Pittsfield Building, and they would tell the whole story of how the building was made. You know, and these buildings are still there. Their names have changed.
Right.
The
55 East
Union
Washington.
Carbide and Carbon Building. It has this kind of bronze decoration on the peak of the building. Those buildings are still there.
And you know,
It's black
knowing
and gold.
them well enough, you just said the Pittsville. I haven't heard that for ages.
Pittsville.
No.
Very nice Art Deco.
What?
The Field Building. There was in
yeah.
addition to Marshall Fields,
Let's
there is
hear
a
Pittsfield. You got
Field Building downtown,
Right.
an office building that was called the Field Building.
My
That's
favorite
right.
was the Masonic Temple.
There
For a
you
short
are.
time, the tallest building in the world, and it came down in '39.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
never was a moneymaker. There's a book
yeah.
that features that.
Yeah.
How many? How many? It must have. This was like before the Woolworth building. It was the tallest.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
on the northeast corner of State and Randolph. I think.
Right,
Wow.
exactly.
It was the tallest building in the world for a
Yeah,
while.
it was like
For a few
21
months.
stories.
Even
or
New York
so.
City couldn't
Yeah.
catch up.
But
with
my
it.
point
Yeah.
of bringing those buildings up was, and that's interesting, is that we, it's like I was talking to somebody about neighborhoods. They used to use their church name as their
Yeah.
sense
The
of
parish.
direction.
Right, parish,
Okay,
yeah.
The parish. Well, when somebody would say to you, the field building, that you didn't say, well, what's the address? You knew
You
exactly.
knew where it was.
You
You
didn't have
know,
to.
and they usually had a jewelry shop in there and a this and all hidden things, you know. So
Yeah, I got to tell you
I-
one thing my mother told
think
me,
that's
you know,
our
because we
problem.
only live 2 miles north of downtown. And she always said, when you walk into a department store or so, try and walk out the same way you walked in,
Yeah.
because you
Get
could, like
directions.
Marshall Fields, you could come in on
yeah.
State Street and walk out on Wabash or
Yeah.
Randolph or Washington.
Yeah.
You know, you could be a little bit
I
disoriented.
see that at the Daily Plaza. You know, they'll go one way and the other.
Yeah.
But they often put the street
Wasn't
names up.
Randolph
so you
right
know.
here?
Yeah, but when
City
you're
Hall.
inside the building, you know,
Yeah.
you wander around and you walk out and
You
you
lose
say,
your sense of
you
direction.
lose your
Yeah.
sense of direction, you know.
You always
And,
have to have a landmark to look at.
Yeah.
yeah,
State of
yeah,
Illinois building.
yeah.
And what
Something, you know.
and what about the Drake Hotel?
There you are.
What about the
On
Drake Hotel?
on the
Yeah,
lake
with the
shore
big
there.
beacon
with the
on top.
Lindbergh Beacon.
Yeah, I was just gonna say with the beacon on top.
That was the Palmolive.
Right.
It was called-
It's the Palmolive building.
That was the Palmolive building. Yeah.
Playboy building.
Then it became
Playboy
right.
building. I think the beacon's still up there too.
But it doesn't.
They blocked
Oh,
off
it's
lights
like
block-
to
it
and the
doesn't-
entire
yeah,
The
building.
mast is still
Yeah.
there.
The mast is there. That's what I
That's
meant.
kind of neat, wasn't it? So that,
Oh,
It sure was.
And I could see. Could you see it out where you lived?
You
Yeah.
can see it from the whole west side.
yeah.
Yeah,
See that
I
from-
could
Well,
see it
yeah.
because I,
He was
you know,
just
When I
sit-
lived- when I
stand
lived
in
at-
Central Bridge.
When I lived at 3528 North Oakley, at nighttime, the window that would face the southeast,
oh,
we would see the light come into the front room, and my mother would have the blinds open.
yeah.
there's-
What interval was it? How long did it take to sweep the
You know, Ken,
360
I
degree?
really don't know. I
2-3
never.
minutes or something.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't
We used to see it all the time.
But
you
that
know.
thing was
yeah.
powerful. That had
Yeah.
a powerful beacon to it.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
got the Allerton Hotel right in also, which has the tip top tap,
Tap.
and those
Tip-top.
Gone
those
for years.
words are still there.
And they're gone for years.
Those words are still
You're
there
right.
though. The
Yeah.
tip top
Yeah,
tap.
Yeah.
it's
All right,
just
cost
so
you much to
many.
take it down. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Tip Top Bread?
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too.
Top red. Yeah.
How about what silver?
Did you?
Silver
did
cup
Silver cup.
Silver cup.
Silver
You
cup.
don't see that.
and Wonder Bread.
Yes.
Tut tut nothing but.
Tut,
Butter-
tut, nothing but butternut
That's
bread.
next show.
Tut tut nothing
our
but
next show.
butternut
Don't give
bread.
it
You can do a whole
away.
show on
Cisco Kid.
commercials.
Helps build strong bodies 8 ways.
Wonder Bread was like baked paste.
At 3 in the morning when you're in bed, the
wholesome
bakers are
bakers-
making
wholesome.
That is
like
the
Chinese.
reason
It was
it tastes
H-O-L-S-U-M,
so good.
H-O-L-S-U-M,
Like
H-O-L-S-U-M,
oven
wholesome
some bread should.
Yeah.
H-O-L-S-U-M,
H-O-L-S-U-M, that's
man.
chopsticks. H-O-L-S-U-M. The name of that.
Some bread.
Yeah, wholesome bread.
See, young people don't get this anymore. They have
No.
nothing. They have no concept of what we're talking about.
No, when,
Yeah, how do they make bread? How do you get bread? You go
I
to a
make the
store.
bread. I earned every bit of bread I ever got, bro.
No, you're right. There's
Yeah,
just no.
that's you know what? So I teach Chicago history. It's fascinating. We come up with all kinds of stuff, and you know, and the bottom line is once it's explained, it's all very simple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all very simple. You know, Sherman House, named for people then were not ashamed to associate a business with their family name. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's the same with the radio station, WGN, WLS. Those all have meanings.
Those,
World's
yeah,
greatest
yeah,
newspaper.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
World's largest store.
Yes. All that.
Bob,
Balaban and Katz Broadcasting.
There you go.
WBKB.
There you go.
Channel 7.
Everything has a reason.
WBKB.
But, you know,
Bob's
in
radio
Chicago.
station. Bob's radio station, WARG. Now that's got to stand for Argo.
Argo High School.
Of course, yeah.
Argo High School.
Org.
Yeah, Arg.
Argo was a
WARG.
Argo was a company town for Argo. It started out there, and that's I guess they merged with Summit at one.
There actually is no municipality of Argo.
Not anymore, anyway.
Argo is
The old road map
it's just
show
an
it like
area.
this. Yeah, right.
It's just an area. Summit. They call it Argo Summit.
Summit, yeah.
There is no town of Argo.
I think there's
There
Argo
may
High
have
School
been
there
one time,
somewhere.
no?
Yes.
There could have been at one
I
point.
go through there every day.
But never a
Yeah.
separate subject.
And also the radio station that's going to be carrying our Meet the Chicago Historians, WRHS, stands for Ridgewood High School,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is right
Yeah.
here in Norwich, right
Yeah,
down the
right.
street from our studios here.
Yeah. There's a reason for everything. Once
That's right.
it's explained,
Thank you, Ridgewood High School.
Yeah.
And another one, I don't know if you people realize WIND.
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 Yeah, W, and because their transmitter is in Indiana, that's how they get IND.
Okay.
That's a
Oh,
good one,
okay.
John. That's a
Now
good
here's
one.
one. There was a WENR at one time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Was it
It was.
water and electricity, natural resources, or something meant?
Whoa.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No, and then that disappeared. When
Yeah.
did that become what?
Channel
WBBM
7,
or?
WBKB.
I think WENR
WNBQ. Yeah.
WENR became WLS years later.
Yeah,
Stan, I
after,
think.
with the BBM and BKB in between.
Yeah,
KB.
right.
Yeah.
mhm.
No.
WBBM was always WBBM.
In
News
all-
Radio
You wonder why the 3
78.
versus 4 letters. You think
That's
it'd be
what I've always
consistent with 4
wondered.
letters.
Why there are some stations like
Yeah.
WOR in New York
We know what
or
W is.
WGN,
Yeah.
KOA Denver. There are some radio
Well,
O-line stations
maybe
that only
they're-
had 3
yeah.
initials.
You got
Usually
any
that's
idea, Tom?
television stations.
But they were radio before.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
they were.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
WOR was radio.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think WOR had the Yankee. I think Yankee
No,
baseball was
you're
on
right.
WOR.
Did they become WWR later?
Did that.
Could be, but it was always
War.
WOR.
War. War.
This is Mel Allen, ladies and gentlemen.
How about that?
Tom's
at him
the
go.
youngster.
And here comes Enos Country Boy Slaughter. And he's batting third and playing left field for the Yankees today. And he's got a great farm down there, grazes tobacco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was a Jewish boy from Alabama. Mel Allen was a Jewish boy from Alabama.
Is that right?
Southern, yeah.
His
You
name was
people-
Mel Allen something. His last name was something else.
Oh, Mel Allen, yeah.
But he
You-
sure was.
Like, what was the guy, one of the Cub, Vince Lloyd?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what his last name, real name is? Scaff. SKAFF.
What's that?
Really?
I Lebanese or something. He was, but he used his, Vince Lloyd, Paul Harvey.
That was his real name?
The French name, I believe.
He did. What was there?
Barrett LV. Barrett LV, right? Barrett LV.
Not quite.
Vince Lloyd once said, "I don't wince when you call me Vince, but I do get annoyed if you call me Lloyd."
Oh, cute.
He had the rare occasion, shall we say, to interview President Nixon, who came to well, I guess was it a Cub game or something?
I think I kind of
And then the president was sitting there, and he came over, and the next thing you know, Vince Lloyd's, I'll think of Paul Harvey's real name, by the way.
They did that when the Telstar
date?
was first activated. Remember Telstar, the first communications?
Yeah.
Jack
They were
Brickhouse.
doing this broadcast, and they cut into a Cubs game, and
Right.
they waved the flag and so on. So they switched away to a Kennedy press conference, and they said the people in Europe wanted to see more baseball games, less press conference. So, can I say something before we
You're the
time
master of
expires?
ceremonies. You
Yeah.
can say whatever you want.
No, children. We're a big happy family here. Remember? We're talking about the Battle of Gettysburg. Oddly enough, on Turner Classic Movies, who's got cable? Anybody? Got cable?
I got
Yeah,
cable.
not that.
Yeah.
I don't
You know
know.
Turner Classic Movies?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Too distracting.
in between a lot of the films, they aren't really listed, I don't think, but they'll have shorts, different shorts, comedy shorts, sports shorts. Well, this one was from 1955, which was relatively late in the short subject
Yeah.
field. The Battle of Gettysburg, narrated by Leslie Nielsen. He was
boy.
he was still kind of a leading man type
Oh,
then.
sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's no person appears on screen. It's all done with the statues, with the battlefield, and the paintings,
that's clever.
and
That would
music.
be interesting.
Oh, it's great. It's a half hour long, and I wish I had been able to tape it.
Kind
or
of like the
something.
Ken Burns format.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
sounds a lot. It sounds like an
Exactly.
early version of Ken Burns.
I do write-ups for the Internet Movie Database, IMDb, and that's exactly what I put in my my review of that. They're using predating Ken Burns and people like
Sure,
him. I said,
sure.
well, they know enough
I
to
like
move
his
it,
style.
doesn't it? And then they have these angles. These are such great sculptures they've got in the battlefield. The look on people's face. There's like a group of regular dog-ass soldiers, regular, grunts.
Grunts.
But then there'll be like one of Meade we talked about before, and they talk about how the battle he had his forces move out, and as the Confederates came forward, they crushed them from both sides and up the middle, and that was it. So, but anyway.
Let me do a quick. I want to do a quick presidential
I got a finger for you too, Ed.
If I can do a quick
presidential story,
a more recent presidential story inspired by you being the master of ceremonies.
Yes.
The story is Lyndon Johnson when he was getting off of Air Force One, and onto one of the Marine helicopters, and he has this young Army aide with him, and Johnson starts walking toward the wrong helicopters. There's this row of them there. And the young Army captain says, "Excuse me, Mr. President, but that's not your helicopter. Your helicopter is the one over there." And Lyndon says, "Son, these are all my helicopters."
Right.
And that would have been Johnson.
Then the answer would have been, well, okay, but that one's going to Brooklyn.
It was
Good one.
It was interesting.
And
what
the
you just
pilot
said.
would have been wound up going to the Pago. If he
Right, quite arrogant.
They would do that. I was on the detail when Nixon visited here. It was like, I don't know, March of 1970. And what they would do, they flew into the military side of O'Hare, and then 5 helicopters came across. You didn't know which one the president was on, and landed at Meigs. Now Northerly Island.
Yeah.
So you could go from there to there.
Oh,
and I was right at Jackson in Michigan where we made the turn. My fiance was. I said, "The president's coming by here," so I had him come over and stand there. Come with a salute. He waved to everybody. So I mean, that goes to show you what great thing that having that Meigs was right there alone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I saw the
Should never
presidential
have been-
helicopters lift off when the first President Bush was president. I was down there at the Adler Planetarium, and I saw the helicopters all lift up and head over the lakefront. It was just, talk about an inspiring pace, seeing all these helicopters with the presidential seal on them, and they flew right by and all along the lakefront, headed up for O'Hare. It was very, very
Same
very,
thing. They
very
come
inspiring.
across like you see this, like almost it looks like they're right next to each other, so close when they come out.
Yeah.
So like
And when the president landed at O'Hare, quite a bit of the field was on lockdown, because I was out there one day. I was doing, sort of learning, shall we say, and
We've lost that now with Meigs no longer.
yeah, really, And,
I have a son that worked
yeah.
those shifts and in his day of that, and he saw some great people.
That whole military site is
yeah.
gone.
they're gonna put casinos there or something. I think.
Yeah.
There, you know what? Then they shut. How many years did it go to? They shut it 10 years.
It's a while. Yeah.
And it's a ghost town now.
I made the argument. I made the argument that you should keep Meigs open just for the fact that it's very picturesque to see these small planes. For no other reason.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're
You know,
right. You
no,
could go in there and watch
We're doing
that.
that because of 9/11,
No.
And you know
what I
what
was doing there.
There was a great comment. He said, they said, Mayor Daley in a press conference, the planes that leave at Meigs Field, they don't have a flight plan. He said, the planes that crashed into,
Didn't either.
they didn't have a flight plan either. So,
So, well,
Anyway.
folks, it looks like by the old clock we just run down. It's just about to 2:30, and whatever Mickey says on my wrist, it's time to wrap this one up again. I think we've had a real good time today, and we didn't get to our subject. Make sure to hear us on Meet the Chicago Historians, and listen for us on, what is the station number again? What's the station though?
WRHS on 89.7.
99.7 FM. Okay.
89.7.
Till next time, remember, history is much more than a book you keep on the shelf.
You have been listening to Meet the Chicago Historians from the John Nevada Broadcast Center on the Northwest Side. Our next broadcast will be on Monday, March the 19th. I hope you've enjoyed today's broadcast, and I want to thank our moderator, Jack Ryan, and the panel for a great broadcast. Once again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you on Monday, March the 19th.